Alright, I'm just going to report on some uh, quick news items I found interesting while also trying to figure out some presentation format stuff. Um, so, first off, here's an article talking about a Federal Reserve Virginia chair um, stating on Monday that the the economy needs to still needs to weather the storm of this crisis, and that there's going to be short-term price volatility. Um, and what I've put in the red text is what I think they're really saying in between the lines. Um, and I joke, but it's actually quite sad. But yeah, people are hurting, so let's inflate away their currencies. That's basically what they're saying. Um, they're saying the economy's weak, and they use that as an excuse for stimulus, which further increases poverty and the wealth divide. It's quite heinous. They also said they still think there's a lot of people out of work that need a bridge to the other side, um, which is basically just a rich banker guy claiming he cares about you. I mean, he's probably paid more than ever, and people are struggling, and he's just, doing a PR stunt. An economist sees deflationary as well as inflationary risks on the horizon. Um, I mean, he's basically just like making a prediction both ways so that he can't ever be criticized in the future, and they also can, like, anything can happen to prices, and they can be like, well, see, that's what we said would happen. So they're basically saying they don't know what's going to happen to prices, which, is not very reassuring. Um, so the Democrats, the House Democrats, are proposing to send 1.4K stimulus payments to some people. Um, the government's keeping people dependent upon government after shutting down the small businesses. If you'll notice, all the big corporations are relatively unaffected um, by the shutdowns. It's mostly small businesses. Um, and they say it just seems like they're picking arbitrary dollar amounts. That's what I have written down there. Like, they're just like, 150K, that sounds good. Like, that's the limit. Like, above that, they're a little bit too rich, below that, like, we want to look like we're carrying. Like, it's just so weird because 150K buys a lot less or a lot more depending on where you live, how many people you're supporting. Like, it's all about cash flow, and 150K, like, you can't just do a blanket amount like that. Um, and They initially wanted to cap it at 50K a year for singles and 100K a year for um, a couple to qualify for this 1400 stimulus. And they're like, oops, 50 to 100K is not what it used to be. Let's notch it up a bit. Um, we got another banker here. Um, she sees short-term inflation growth as economy recovers. You know, people aren't working because everyone's scared shitless and shutting down business. Meanwhile, some people are paid way too much not to work on unemployment, while others aren't getting anything. So it seems to be a huge uh, difference in how this whole shutdown and the virus is affecting everyone. It's very unequitable treatment. So this banker woman banker um, expects higher inflation, um, but it'll take more time for that inflation to reach, so they're always understating inflation. I pretty much say this in every video. So the rich banker's telling you there's no inflation because they never need to buy their own groceries, and they're promoting this propaganda that the CPI is real and that's actually measuring inflation. Um, but they take out food, energy, housing, healthcare. They pad the numbers so that they can say inflation is low. They also do that so they don't have to pay you as much Social Security. Um, at an online discussion on the economy, she pointed out that business sectors have been hit disproportionately and that economic inclusion will help the economy recover sooner. Doesn't that sound good? Economic inclusion. That's a good one, huh? The rich can work from home and watch their portfolios go up, while the poor are screwed, all because of government monetary fiscal policy and the shutdowns. So, we got some updates on the relations between the EU and Russia. Tensions are escalating between the EU and Russian governments because of disagreements on the Alexei Navalny and Nord Stream 2 pipeline situations. So, Europe needs natural gas from Russia, but Western governments don't like to acknowledge needing Russia. We're also promoting like hostilities and escalating tensions between the EU and Russia, and so that's what this is largely reporting on. And so they're expelling diplomats from each other's embassies, and they're both claiming that they're the ones who are right. This Alexei Navalny situation seems to, I've heard different things. I'm not Russian, I'm not on the ground, so I don't want to claim anything. You hear things that he's planted there by the US and the UK. I don't know if that's true. You hear things that he's not really supported by that many people, percentage-wise, in Russia. I don't know if that's true. But the EU seems to be forming solidarity in its stance towards Russia and the Alexei Navalny situation. So Sweden is joining Germany in their crusade against Russia, largely because of this Alexei Navalny situation. Now, I think he might have been a plant, so that it's kind of like they can create a flashpoint to escalate more tensions. But I have no proof of that. That's just a theory. So Myanmar, an update on the Myanmar situation. The military of Myanmar has led a coup against the sitting government because they claim there's election fraud. So who knows if that's true. In general, the army announced he will relinquish power after a new election that he deems is legitimate. So they're blocking social media outlets, and I guess they're even like having a hard time getting electricity and water. So keep an update on the Myanmar situation. It seems pretty ugly. A lot of people are protesting the military coup. Thought I'd give an update on platinum prices. So they're the highest they've been in, over 4 years. So here's a 10-year graph of platinum. It's now close to 1,200. Allegedly, this has to do with reducing carbon emissions of internal combustion vehicles. I don't know how much that's true, but this could just largely be a supply-demand, dollar weakening thing. And one last quick bit is, I guess Amazon's partnering with Shell to help their pledge to be emission free by 2040. So there's this growing trend for major publicly traded companies to pledge to reduce their emissions by certain dates. In this case, Amazon's pledge is to do it by 2040. So they're buying a lot of clean energy production. I don't know if this is more of a business move or more of a PR move. It could be both, but see how it plays out in the future. Alright, that's all for now.